Hi, I'm John Libinati,
I'm Cleo Libinati.
and we're glutenfreeworks.com. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of recognizing symptoms.
For people who think they don't have symptoms, it's really important to be able to recognize what your body looks like and should look like on the outside. For instance, if you have thinning hair, I'm 73 and I don't have thinning hair, but many people do. And the reason is as we get older, we tend to absorb things like iron more poorly, and zinc. Don't get that in the diet. But even not being older, I see plenty of people of all ages, even young children who have thin hair. Young, like 3 years old, that have very thin, straggly hair. And the reason is lack of nutrients. And for good hair growth, we know we need biotin, and we get that from egg whites, principally as a best source, and iron, as I said. So if we don't eat enough meat or we don't absorb it, that is a big problem, of course, in celiac disease, is not failure to absorb nutrients. And we can trace these things back. So I said zinc and biotin and iron. Those are the main ones, not the only ones, but they're the main problems. And we see thin hair. Okay, and there's other things we look at. We look at the skin. Is it clear? Or is it blotchy? Is it dry? Is it flaky?
Do you
Is
have
it itchy?
acne?
Do you have acne? There's so much in the skin. If it's not clear, it's a problem. That's called a symptom. And you can look at your fingernails. Look at them right now. Take a look and see. Do you have white spots in any one of your nails or more of them? If you see a white spot, we're talking about a zinc deficiency. That is huge. That impacts your immune system and growth in children. It's just widespread. Zinc is critical to good health. So if you see the white spots, if I said to you, do you have a zinc deficiency? Oh, no, I don't. But if I look in your fingernails and I see a white spot, I'm going to tell you, yes, you do. And then I'm going to look at your fingernails and I'm going to say, do you have looks like little splinters under your fingernail, here underneath the fingernail before it was out? That splinter means, hemorrhage means there's a break in the vessel caused by vitamin C deficiency. You can see that. You can see around your fingernails. If they're not strong, the fingernails are not strong, able to grow. If they keep chipping or breaking off, you can't get them to grow. They're little lobby things. I see a lot of that. Or they're flat. They should be rounded, and they should be smooth, not ridged. They shouldn't have ridges going either way, either vertically or horizontally. I could tell you all of that stuff, but these are, when you look at your fingernails, they have to look strong, smooth, and not real white. If they're very white, you have a protein deficiency. So there's so much you can see just in your fingernails, your skin, your hair. These are things on the outside of your body. You look at your mouth. If your lips are cracked or peeling, or they hurt, that's your tongue. Stick out your tongue. Remember in the old days, the doctor would say, let me see your tongue. Because when you see the tongue, if it's pale, again, you look at a pale tongue, you look at thin hair, you look at fatigue, you're looking at iron deficiency.
I think one of the biggest problems in what you're getting at is that people think, well, that's just me. And I think about before I went gluten-free and before I knew any of this information, I just thought that's the way I was. You know what I mean? And
We
you look
all
at
did.
looking at your fingernails. My fingernails they'd crack, but I just thought that's the way it was, and because I bit them, and that's what the doctors said, was because you bite their fingernails.
But you wouldn't bite the fingernails if they were strong and healthy. You only bite weak nails that are bothering you. That's why you bite them. It's not about nervousness. You could be nervous, but that's not the real reason.
And so many symptoms are like this, where you think the cause is one thing. For example, you talked about the white spots, the zinc spots. Well, I've met people many, many times whose doctor said, well, it's because you hit it on something, and that's why you have white spots. But I remember talking to a boy, he had spots all over all his fingernails. I said, what, are you banging every single one of your fingers into things all the time? And he said, no. But his doctor told him that it was due to impact.
Oh, and then my doctor told me that, and my two of my pregnancies were really short because of zinc deficiency. And had he not told me, or he had known that that was a zinc deficiency, then I would not have had these short pregnancies, which, is not a good thing for the baby. So, but I have even had doctors, a pulmonologist, for instance, and I was seeing him for one reason. I'm looking at his fingernails, and every nail had at least 2 or more very white spots in them. And I said to him, hey, do you know anything about those white spots? He said, no, I've had them ever since I was a child. So
So even doctors get used to the way they feel.
Right? He was so excited. He said, I'm so embarrassed by these fingernails, and people always ask me about them. I said, well, there you go.
See, even among doctors, none of us can know everything about everything. And that's one of the reasons we put together the Gluten-Free Works Treatment Guide, because it has hundreds of signs, symptoms, associated disorders, and complications. It tells you what's causing them, but then it tells you how to fix them. So this is an extraordinary resource that will help you.
And just dig in. You can have a field day looking up one thing after the other. Just the dictionary alone will explain what you don't understand. But, just put in whatever symptom that you think you have that's not quite right. Like you have red eyes or dry eyes or whatever you can see on your body. Just put that right into that little search and see what comes up. You can have lots of fun.
And if you're not sure what your symptoms are, we make it very easy. We have a symptom search section with a health condition search, and that's basically an index of hundreds of health problems. And you might see things that your doctor either told you to look out for, that you might have a diagnosis, or if you go to the sidebar here, you can look it up by body organs. All right, so you say, well, I know I have a problem with my joints. You just click on that and then look up the things that come with it. So even if you're not exactly sure what you have, so you don't know what to put in a keyword search, you can look it up in the index. You can look up the nutrient deficiencies. You can look up things by body systems. And that way, you'll discover more of what you need to know.
And you get to know yourself better.
This is true. I didn't realize how little I knew myself before I actually got well. And then it's funny to think of all the symptoms that I had for decades that I didn't even realize were symptoms. And I thought that, well, that's just the way I am. That's just the way I feel. And it wasn't until the symptoms were gone that I realized that I was even sick in the first place, or that I wasn't well. I thought if you didn't have 100-degree fever, 102-degree fever, that you were healthy. When in fact, if you have any of the issues that Cleo was talking about, you're not well.
Very good. Well, I hope this helps you.
I'm John Libinati.
And I'm Cleo Libinati.
And we're glutenfreeworks.com.